I just watched a video on Dave Bautista. I think that's how you say his name.
Yep.
Talking about all his different tattoos. And he was talking about how amazingly painful the top of his foot was. And I'm sitting there thinking, this cat thinks that's painful? And he's talking how he had to take a few shots to do. I'm like, either he has a really low threshold for pain that just is not apparent, which I don't think that's the case, or I'm about to walk into a real problem when I do the tops of my feet.
I love tattoos, but I think I would scream because I have this. My feet are sensitive. Like,
I don't mean to laugh. It's a funny statement.
No, it's true, man. My kids pick on me all the time. When I was in my teens, I had ingrown toenails, and they got really bad, and they got infected.
Yeah, get it cut out.
And anytime anyone comes near my feet, I overreact. Like if you step on my foot, like, and you catch me off guard, like if you did it right now, I would know you're doing it.
Yeah.
I scream even if there's no reason to scream.
How is it that we've been in like formal business together for, really doing it for 13 years now? I've never heard that. And, when I was driving in today, we were talking on the phone and talking about like the idea of like how I apply current Jim to past Jim. And I get angry because current Jim would do a much better job than past Jim did. And I'm really disappointed that current Jim knows about your feet.
And past Jim
Jim doesn't, because that's 13 years of torture that I've just missed out on. And I'm depressed about that, to be fair.
There's two things that the kids, the older ones, tease me about. And, of course, the younger one just follows suit. One is that my feet, they think it's hilarious. Now, there are moments where... again, my life is a comedy, which I enjoy watching. There are moments where they're like, oh, you're just really sensitive about your feet. But there's good cause to be.
Well, these peccadillos come up for cause,
Well, I'll give you an example. Like my middle son, I was teaching him how to drive the tractor. And I was standing next to the tractor.
Is it a stick, or like how does it? Or is it just a front back?
It's a front back. It's got the foot pedals.
Okay.
It's a John Deere, and I, he over the summer, I think it was this summer, it might have been last summer. He was like, "I really want to learn how to use that thing and help you around the yard." And I'm like, "Sure, absolutely."
Drive it right through the wall of the new garage.
No, he's really good with it. Except when I was teaching him, he put it in reverse and backed over my foot. Now, luckily, we were on the grass. The grass is soft.
Yeah. Could have a broken foot there.
And I was like convinced, like I freaked out. He was on my foot still. And I said, okay, slowly.
So he stopped on your foot.
Yeah.
Mingia.
Slowly roll off my foot. And I felt this kind of like rush of blood to my foot. And I'm like, okay, my foot is demolished. I'm not going to take my shoe off.
Hamburger.
I'm going to go right to the ER because I'm going to be in pins and screws. And of course, nothing was wrong with my foot, but he's like, oh, you're just really sensitive.
Was your Apple Watch on at the time?
No. He's like, oh, you're just really sensitive about your feet. And I'm like, you just ran my foot over with a tractor. Like, I think it's okay to be sensitive. Now, if you kick me when you're walking by me and I scream, okay, man. But like, you just ran me over with a vehicle.
Well, it's a good teaching moment though, because one of the things I talk with both of the kids are about ownership of feelings, and your feelings are yours, my feelings are mine. You don't get to make me feel bad for my feelings, and I don't get to make you feel bad for yours. Every person's their feelings are their own. So, that's an opportunity for, while on its face, it might look very like, all right, so, your foot's all right. On its face, it looks like that. But when that kind of past trauma that you dealt with, because the reality, I'm not saying that it wasn't the case, but your feet being as problematic as they were, that creates something deep seated inside of you.
Oh,
it just doesn't go away. A trauma response does not go away. It can be mitigated. It can be dealt with, but I believe it never truly disappears.
No, and I think it even goes deeper than that. You've been to my house. I live in the sticks. And when I was a kid, my neighbor had horses. And one day, one of the horses got out and came down to my house. And I was trying to be a good neighbor and grab it by the reins and bring it back up to the house.
How old were you?
I was probably 7 or 8.
Okay, so
was
this
young.
is like full horse now.
This is a huge
full
horse,
Yeah, okay.
And I was trying to get it to move, and it just looked at me, and it stepped forward, and it just stood on my foot.
And if it wants to stay there, there's nothing you're going to do.
And I had a horse on my foot.
That's a shirt.
And I tried everything. I was punching it. I was screaming at it, and it was not moving. Now, my foot, again, like the tractor, was on the grass, so it just was like sunk in the mud. It wasn't like...
Yeah, it's not like you were standing on concrete.
No, because it would have crushed my foot.
would have been over.
Yeah, and finally it moved, and I brought it back to my neighbor and all that. But so that's one. The other joke about me, the running joke, is that when I'm on the phone walking around the yard, which I know you enjoy as well,
Oh, yeah. If I'm on the phone, I'm walking around.
you can hand me anything, and I will take it from you and walk around with it. Like, you could hand me a live lobster with no elastics on its pinchers, and I'll just walk around with it. The kids are always joking, like, we're going to hand you something, like, ridiculous, like,
Like a snake that'll bite you, but it won't kill you.
yeah, it'll just, like, cling to me, and I'll just be walking around holding it. And Rachel's tried it, and, like, she'll hand me something, and I'll start walking around holding it and talking. I'm usually on the phone with you. Like, I don't really like have long conversations with a lot of people.
And some of our phone calls, I mean, they really can border on the absurd in their length.
Yeah, it was like hour and 30, hour and 50 minutes.
I always look at
almost
I
2
look down, I
hours.
go, man,
Yeah,
hour and 50 minutes.
yeah.
What do we even talk about?
But then she'll like hand me something else. Like I'll be carrying like a stack of something, and when I'm like on the phone, I don't even notice. But yeah, it's the idea that, and I look back on that stuff and I go, okay, there are definitely moments where I was, in the past, like very nervous about like what I was, like my feet, and probably overreacting.
I want to like sneak into your house
And, like, stomp on my foot.
2 o'clock in the morning. No, I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to hurt. I want to sneak at your house like 2 o'clock in the morning. I want to play with your feet while you're sleeping in bed.
See, that wouldn't trigger me.
There's 2 things that, even though it's irrational, there's 2 things that still to this day, number one, I will not look underneath a bed at night. I won't even look. So when I'm, you go to the bathroom, come back in, I won't even look at the bed, even if it's blackout, because there's only one movie that scares me, and it's The Exorcist. I don't know why. I've seen other movies that are way more intense, whatever. There's just something about that movie that freaks me out, and I will see her face looking at me from underneath the bed, and she's going to bite my feet as I'm getting in the bed. So that freaks me out. Number 2, vampires.
Oh.
Okay.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
Being afraid of The Exorcist is pretty normal, but vampires I did not know about.
What's funny is the dual absurdity of this particular thing. When I was a kid, I always slept with my sheets all the way up to my neck, because somehow a thin amount of cotton was going to stop. A vampire is going to show up, and he's going to walk over and he goes, you know what? He's got the sheet up to, even if it was just the sheet, because living in Florida, hot, no air conditioning.
Yeah.
Just the sheet. I would never sleep without at least that. And the vampire's going to go, yeah, man, he's got 400 thread count on there. There's no way I'm getting through that. And he just decides to go back out the window. So to this day, I still, even now, middle of the summer, one of the reasons why I need to have the air conditioning on as much as I do, I have to have a sheet up to my neck, because I know vampires are very likely not real unless they're traveling into space to stop an alien invasion.
Vlad, you must bite him.
I cannot.
It's a poly cotton blend. What do you want me to do?
What for I should do to him? But it's just these absurd things, and where do they? It's very fun to explore where it comes from.
All my my video games and my TV and all that were in the basement. And
what's your is it like a finished basement when you were down there, or is it
finished.
stones?
No,
what do we call those? What were those man-made large bricks? No, I'm talking about the gray large bricks you make a foundation
Cinder
out of.
block?
Yes,
No,
that's what I
no,
was
no, no.
thinking
It
of.
was finished, and
Man-made large bricks.
there used to be like a full bar down. They had parties and stuff down there, and then but
And then you had parties down there.
no,
And then they moved the full bar out.
they wisely moved the bar out before I was a teenager.
Good move.
But like my Nintendo everything was down there, and you would shut the lights off before you left the basement. And I just want to pause on that for a second
That's
because
already I'm nervous.
well, for the off chance that my teenage sons are listening to this, you shut the lights off when you leave the basement.
Yeah.
The lights, the switch goes down and the lights go off, and then you leave the basement. And that was kind of the rule, and it's a rule in our house too. But I go in the basement, the lights are on all the
Well,
time.
everything you told me about, that's why I bought stock in your local electric company, because I'm pretty sure you're paying all the dividends over there.
My kids are leaving lights on. But anyways, once the lights went off and I was at the bottom of the stairs, it was a mad dash to get to the top of the stairs because something was chasing me.
Now, did you have stairs that didn't have the kick plate on them, so like your foot could go in
No,
between them?
no,
Okay. So you could run.
They were
You
carpeted.
could really go
You
full.
could haul ass, but I always I never timed myself, but bottom of stairs, top of stairs. I mean, holy God, because something was going to grab me.
Yeah. Something's getting.
Because I was coming out of darkness.
That hand is just going to
Yeah.
reach up from the pit of hell and grab you back into the cellar.
But I don't carry that with me as an adult. I'm not afraid of going up the stairs anymore. But
You've progressed.
I really have. I've really grown.
Imagine for a moment if you were running up those stairs and you stubbed your toe while running up the stair. Your world would have collapsed in upon itself faster than a black hole. It would have been over.
It's true.